Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In our today's lab, we will talk about the non-inverting voltage amplifier and the inverting voltage amplifiers. The non-inverting voltage amplifier has the characteristics of an ideal voltage amplifier, exceptionally high input impedance and very low output impedance. In this experiment, we will construct a series parallel negative feedback op-amp non-inverting voltage amplifier circuit. We will verify and observe the effects of feedback resistors and setting the voltage gain, and we will demonstrate that negative feedback reduces the output impedance of the op-amp. So first let's construct the circuit of the non-inverting voltage amplifier. So we will go to place components. Here we have all groups. So in all groups we have to select the analog, and in analog we have to select the op-amp. So in op-amp we have different op-amps. So we have to select 741 op-amp. So this is actually a 741 op-amp, and we will place this op-amp here. Apart from that, we need certain resistors and the input voltage. So we have to go to the basic, and we have to select the resistors. So apart from this, I have to select the sources, signal voltage sources and AC voltage. So these are actually the components which I require. If we look at the op-amp device, this op-amp device is actually an 8-terminal device. We have the pin number 3, we have the pin number 2, we have the pin number 6, 1, 5 and these two pins. Now if we look at the pin number 2, the pin number 2 is actually the inverting input. It means that if we apply or signal to this pin, to this negative terminal, so the output will be out of phase with the input. There will be 180-degree phase shift. So the pin number 2 is an inverting terminal. जो हमारा pin number 2 है, that is actually an inverting input terminal, whereas the pin number 3 is the non-inverting input terminal. It means that कि जब हम pin number 3 को सिग्नल अप्लाई करेंगे, इनपुट सिग्नल अप्लाई करेंगे, तो जो हमारा आउटपुट सिग्नल है और इनपुट सिग्नल है वो इन फेज होगा. So the pin number 2 is the non-inverting, is the inverting input terminals, whereas the pin number 3 is the non-inverting input terminal. This pin and this pin, these are actually the pins for the positive. These are actually the supply pins. It means that positive supply is applied to this pin and the negative supply is applied to this pin. Pin number 6 is the output pin, मतलब यहाँ से हम output लेते हैं. Whereas pin number 1 and pin number 5, these two terminals or these two pins are actually used for the input offset voltages. So we will not use these two pins. जो हमारा सप्लाई है तो हम इन दोनों पिंस को अप्लाई करेंगे. जो इनपुट सोर्स है, चूंकि अभी हम नॉन इन्वर्टिंग वोल्टेज एम्पलीफायर डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, सो जो हमारा इनपुट है वो हम पिन नंबर 3 को अप्लाई करेंगे, बिकॉज द पिन नंबर 3 इज द नॉन इन्वर्टिंग इनपुट टर्मिनल. Similarly, we need two resistors, so I will copy this resistor, I will paste this resistor. So these are actually the two resistors, one is R1 and one is RF. RF is actually the feedback resistors. Label, this will actually be RF. So I need two resistors to construct this circuit. One is R1 and one is RF. So RF, ये जो RF है हमारा, ये कनेक्ट होगा आउटपुट के साथ. ये जो हमारा R1 है, इसको हम यहाँ पे प्लेस कर लेते हैं. लेट्स फर्स्ट मेक द नेसेसरी कनेक्शंस. तो जो R1 है वो मैं कनेक्ट करता हूँ 2 के साथ. इसी तरह let me rotate RF. This is actually RF and RF will be connected here and I need a ground too. मुझे ग्राउंड की भी ज़रूरत है. So I will go to the power sources और यहाँ से मैं ग्राउंड सेलेक्ट कर लेता हूँ. तो यहाँ प्लेस कर लेता हूँ. So जो हमारा इन्वर्टिंग इनपुट टर्मिनल है इसको मैं ग्राउंड कर लेता हूँ. Whereas RF and R1, this actually provides the negative feedback. RF and R1 actually provides the negative feedback. Now what is actually a feedback? Feedback क्या होता है कि जब हम a portion of output को लेते हैं और उसको अप्लाई करते हैं इनपुट, जो इनपुट के साथ या ऐड होगा या इनपुट को अपोज करेगा. सो दिस इज एक्चुअली कॉल्ड फीडबैकिंग, नेगेटिव फीडबैकिंग. अगर इनपुट को अपोज करता है तो दैट इज एक्चुअली नेगेटिव फीडबैकिंग. अगर इनपुट के साथ वो ऐड होता है सो दैट इज एक्चुअली द पॉजिटिव फीडबैकिंग. तो यहाँ पे हम नेगेटिव फीडबैकिंग यूज कर रहे हैं. व्हेन a portion of the output signal is sampled and that is supplied to the input signal, which will either add to the input signal or which will either oppose the input signal to the input signal. तो यहाँ पे हम नेगेटिव फीडबैकिंग यूज कर रहे हैं. और चूंकि हम नॉन इन्वर्टिंग वोल्टेज एम्पलीफायर कंस्ट्रक्ट कर रहे हैं तो जो हमारा इनपुट सिग्नल है वो हम सप्लाई करेंगे टू दी नॉन इन्वर्टिंग इनपुट टर्मिनल. इसी तरह जो ये दो हमारे पिन हैं यहाँ पे हम सप्लाई प्रोवाइड करेंगे. सो वी नीड supplies, components, power sources. We can use VCC, we can use VDD, we can use VSS. हम वैल्यूज चेंज कर लेंगे. सो VCC को हम यहाँ पे प्लेस कर लेते हैं. VSS में सेलेक्ट कर लेता हूँ, वो मैं यहाँ पे प्लेस कर लेता हूँ, क्लोज कर लेता हूँ. सो VCC is actually 15 volts. इसको हम पॉजिटिव सप्लाई प्रोवाइड करेंगे और इसी टर्मिनल को नेगेटिव सप्लाई प्रोवाइड करेंगे. इसकी वैल्यू मैं चेंज कर लेता हूँ, दैट इज -15 वोल्ट्स, -15 वोल्ट्स. और दिस इज एक्चुअली और पॉजिटिव. इसी तरह to see the output waveform I will use the oscilloscope. चैनल ए में कनेक्ट कर लेता हूँ आउटपुट के साथ. और जो हमारा चैनल बी है आई विल कनेक्ट चैनल बी टू दी इनपुट. लेट मी चेंज द कलर ऑफ दी channel B. Let me change the color of the input signal gate. I will select blue. Apply and OK. I will use the 200 millivolts peak to peak signal. So it means that I will use the 100 millivolt peak input signal and 1 kilohertz sine wave. So this is actually our Input signal, I am applying the input signal to the non-inverting input terminal. It means that this circuit is actually the non-inverting voltage amplifier. It means that the output signal will be in phase with the input signal, क्योंकि जो हमारा input signal है वो हम non-inverting input terminal को supply कर रहे हैं. Let's run this circuit and let's see the waveforms. Oh, before running the circuit, let me place a ground here. Control C, Control V. Let me place a ground here. Now run this circuit. But before running the circuit, RF is 1 kilohertz, R1 is 1 kilohertz. It's okay. Millihertz. Let's change the scales. Now, if we look at the circuit, channel A is being used for the input. No. Channel A is used for the output, whereas channel B is used for the input. It means that the blue signal is the input signal, whereas the red signal is the output signal. If I stop this circuit, the blue signal is the input signal, whereas the red signal is the output signal. And 20, this single box actually represents 20 millivolt per division. Our input signal is 20 millivolts peak to peak. So the blue signal is actually our input signal, whereas the red signal is our output signal that gets amplified. Now how much is the voltage gain? As we know that हमें पता है कि for the non-inverting voltage amplifier, the voltage gain is equal to RF by R1 plus 1. It means that RF by R1 plus 1. This is actually the voltage gain for the non-inverting voltage amplifier. Now, what is RF? 1 kilo ohm. What is R1? 1 kilo ohm. So, 1 by 1, that will actually result in 1 and then plus 1. So, our voltage gain is 2. So, हमें पता है कि जो हमारा output voltage है, the output voltage will be equal to the input voltage multiplied by the voltage gain. If I do calculations here, it means that the voltage gain for the non-inverting amplifier is equal to RF by R1 plus 1. यहाँ पे हमारा RF है 1 किलो ओम, जो हमारा R1 है that is 1 kilo ohm. So what will be our voltage gain? Our voltage gain will be 1 plus 1. It means that our voltage gain will be 2. So our output voltage will be equal to the voltage gain into the input voltage. It means that जो हमारा output voltage है that will be 2 times the input voltage. Now our input voltage is 200 millivolts peak to peak. So our output voltage will be equal to 2 multiplied by 200 millivolts peak to peak. So अगर हम यहाँ पे देख लें तो जो हमारा output signal है that is 2 times the input signal. Our output signal gets amplified by 2 times. Or the output signal is in phase with the input signal. So this was all about the non-inverting voltage amplifier. अब हम क्या करते हैं? Let's change the value of RF. and changing the value of RF by 2 kilo ohm. Let's first now let's change by 2 kilo ohm. Now RF is 2 kilo ohm, so this will be 2 kilo ohm. So now we will have 2 plus 1, तो जो हमारा voltage gain है that will be 3. It means that कि जो हमारा output voltage है that will be 3 times the input voltage, not 2 times. So let's run this circuit. Now the output voltage is 3 times the input voltage. So by changing RF, by changing the feedback resistor, we can adjust the voltage gain. So the non-inverting voltage amplifier provides a constant voltage gain, and the voltage gain, the closed loop voltage gain is independent of the amplifier variations. मतलब amplifier circuit में जो variations आती है, so the closed loop voltage gain will be independent of the amplifier variations. So this was all about the non-inverting voltage amplifier.